Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of HCP Live on Ask The Paediatricians Foundation. I am Gbemisola Boyede. I'm your anchor for today. I'm a pediatrician, and I will be answering any child health questions that you may have today. So feel free to drop your questions on whichever platform you're watching from. Those of you watching on Instagram, welcome. I can see some of you already. Please feel free to tag and invite friends and family. And you can begin to drop your questions so that we have enough time to answer them in the next 60 minutes. Those on our ACP Facebook group, please drop your questions as well. Those of you on the page, please share the video. I'm also going to try and do that as quickly as I can. So welcome everybody. I hope you've had a wonderful day. Today is the last day of February 2022. Wow, the year is running so fast. I can't believe we've done 2 months already. So please feel free to share our video, and we'll just do that in the next 2-3 minutes, and then we can start to answer the questions. Once again, on behalf of Ask The Paediatricians Foundation, which is the organization that is bringing you this program, I say welcome to Live Monday. All right, I'm also just sharing the video and making sure we have it on all our social media platforms. Okay, so join us, invite friends and family, tag anybody that needs to be there. Whichever platform you're watching from, just let everybody come now so that we won't have to rush at the end. Okay, and we'll soon be done. Okay, so I think I've shared the video myself, and then we can start. I just need to make sure that the videos are all in the rightful groups and they are pinned to the rightful platform so that everybody can see it. Because some people always need us to put it where they can easily see it for them. So just give me 1 more minute to do that. All right. Welcome everybody to HCP Live. If you are just joining us, I am Gbemisola Boyede and you are on HCP Live Monday. If you're watching on HCP, you can actually just put your question straight under the video in our group. But if you're watching from any of the other pages, you will have to find your way to the video itself and then post your question under the one on the HCP page. So that is the way to do it. Okay, I can see many of you already joining me. Thank you so much. We appreciate you for joining us. Okay, I think I'm done. I just need to make sure the people on HCP can see it here. Okay, I'm always struggling to find my video on the HCP proper itself, which is very interesting. Okay, so if anybody is watching on Ask The Paediatrician, any of our moderators, can you just make sure you pin the video because I can't find my video. Oh, okay, I've seen it now. Okay, I think it's the network. All right, I think I've seen it. I need to just pin it to the featured. Okay. Okay, good. I think I'm done with Facebook. I'm not going to be able to do the Facebook audio live, so please just watch the video and then you can drop your questions. Okay, so welcome. I'm done with all the sharing here and there so everybody can see. Welcome to HCP Live. So this program is brought to you by Ask The Paediatricians Foundation. Our vision on Ask the Paediatrician Foundation is to reduce to zero the number of deaths of children due to preventable causes. It will surprise you to know that close to 1 million children die in Nigeria every year before they reach the age of 5. That is catastrophic. Out of 5 million children that die all over the world, Nigeria and India alone account for 30% of all those deaths. So that is really, really, really horrible statistic. And one of the things that bother us is the fact that what are the things killing our children? They are malaria, diarrhea, pneumonia, things that have to do with being born too early or newborn complications. These are all conditions that we can treat. These are all conditions that we can prevent. And yet, these illnesses or these conditions are killing a million children before the age of 5 every year. So one of the things we are committed to doing is reducing that statistic. We want to see it come down to zero. And one of the way we do it is through this platform where we interface with parents. So you can ask your questions from the pediatricians on how to prevent this, how to treat these conditions. And we do that through all our social media platforms. So you can join our Facebook groups, Ask the Paediatrician, with over 700,000 parents, where you can ask your children health questions from Monday to Saturdays, 24 hours every day. Or if you, even for the adults, we have the ATP family. If you have suffered loss of pregnancy or children, we also have our support group for such parents, because we want to help you to overcome the initial loss and also to prevent it from happening again. So you can join ATP Still a Mom group. Also, you can have private chats with our pediatricians, our professionals at moderate fees. You can actually have consultation via our social enterprise, ATP clinics. And of course, beyond those of us on social media, on Facebook, we also go and do outreaches in indigent communities. These are people who will not have smartphones or social media. So we do community outreaches twice every year in all the states of Nigeria during the Children's Day, May 27 and around that period, and also our Independence Day outreaches in October. So you are welcome to be part of this. You can support us by volunteering if you're a medical professional or even non-medical professionals. And of course, you can also donate financially to support our outreaches, either directly to our bank accounts, or you can go to our global giving page if you are overseas, and you can donate through global giving for us. So you can know that we're a verified non-profit. So you're welcome to support us. Please follow us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. You can watch all our videos on our YouTube channel, HTP TV, and of course, they are also available on our Facebook groups. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. And now I'm just going to start answering our questions. Instagram people, I can't see questions yet on Instagram. So Instagram, join us and ask your questions. I hope you can see me and I hope you can hear me. I believe so. Okay, so feel free to drop your question on Instagram. I just want to check that my volume is appropriate. Okay, yes. Okay, so feel free to ask your questions and drop them. So I'm going to go to Facebook because that is where I can see questions now. Okay. Thank you. If you are posting on our Facebook group, I'm only going to see your name as a Facebook user. So if you want me to see your name, feel free to give StreamYard the permission to put your name on the page. So feel free to do that. Welcome everybody. So the first question I have here says, good evening, Ma. My baby is a year. Should I stop breastfeeding or when should I stop her? Thank you. That's a very lovely question. the World Health Organization, UNICEF, the pediatricians, we want you to breastfeed for as long as possible. And what we recommend is 2 years. So we want you to breastfeed for at least 2 years and even beyond if you want to do that. But you can do, since you're asking us, I would recommend going on for at least 2 years. And of course, we know that your baby is already eating other food, but breastfeeding protects the baby against infection, and the World Health Organization has recommended that you do that for 2 years. Just to remind you, if you're a first-time mom, we have the First-Time Mom Companion, which is a digital product which gives you all this information about raising a healthy newborn, and you'll be calm and confident doing it. You don't need any umugo, you don't need any grandmother. With our FTM companion, that is your umugo or your new mom companion. It tells you everything, including information about breastfeeding. They say, oh, you need some breastfeeding. So I recommend you get that product. The link will be shared later on. All right, thank you. Another person said, what could be the cause of a baby raising his leg to eat on the bed when sleeping? Okay, just to remind everybody, please, when asking questions, can you always tell us the age of your baby? And it's very important for us. If you're asking about weight and looking slim or looking big or whatever, please always include the weight if you have that information. So this Facebook user, please, it would be nice for you to tell us the age of your baby. So we have a contest. Okay, pediatricians, we always need context to which baby we are talking about. But what you have described there, there's absolutely nothing wrong with a child moving their legs when sleeping. There's nothing wrong with that. All of us do that. Even adults, we all move in our sleep. And so you need to really let us know. And so babies also dreams, and sometimes they act out what they have done during the day in the sleep. So that doesn't mean there's anything wrong. So if you tell us the age of your baby, if you provide context to it, it will be helpful. The most important thing for us in this kind of question is to be sure that that child is not having convulsion or what we call seizures. So if a child is moving abnormally in their sleep, waking up and crying, or you try to stop them and you can't stop it and they just keep checking and all that, then that is what we worry us as pediatricians, to make sure the child is not having seizure. But child just moving their legs and all that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Okay, the next question. I have started complementary feeding. How many times am I to breastfeed in 24 hours, seeing that your baby no longer suck as before? Well, that is wrong. So your baby is supposed to be sucking as before. So I always recommend, for those of you who are starting complementary feeding, please do the complementary feeding guide on our Facebook group, because I personally have found out that the majority of the challenges parents have is lack of adequate information when it comes to complementary feeding. So like you've already made an assumption here that is actually wrong, because that I already told us that you have not done the complementary feeding guide, because in complementary feeding you are not reducing breastfeeding. It is not replacement feeding, which is what most parents assume, that okay, your baby is now taking other food, then you should reduce breastfeeding or you should even stop it. No, you should be breastfeeding baby as before. So you are now only adding other food. And when you just start adding other food, it's just a little at a time. So for example, if your baby is just 6 months old, you're only going to give that baby complementary feeding twice a day and maybe about 50 meals of porridge. So the breast milk is still going to be the main food of that baby when you start at 6 months. So please, since you're in our Facebook group, because you are showing as a Facebook user, I will recommend that before you go further on your complementary feeding journey, go to the guide section, look for complementary feeding. It is a guide too. There are about 5 or 6 videos. Please watch them. There's an article there, watch it. There's a video of a previous ACP live on complementary feeding. Please watch it. You'll find that if you start with the right knowledge and information, you will enjoy doing complementary feeding, because you have the right information, you know what to do. I find that most of the time parents, we have the wrong premise, we have the wrong assumptions like you're going to reduce breastfeeding, which is wrong. Assumptions like you need to give the same quantity of what you are giving as breast milk now as complementary feeding, which is wrong. And so sometimes our frustration is not because our children have any issues. Our frustration is because of our own wrong knowledge, wrong information. So you can go to our guide section and watch those videos, or you can buy the FTM companion. Complementary feeding again is a whole unit in that book, in that digital product. So I think it will be helpful for you. If you start with the right information, it will be helpful because you will not be frustrated where there's no need to be frustrated. So don't reduce breastfeeding. So breastfeed your baby on demand as you were doing before, and then you're only trying to introduce new food. And initially when you start, maybe 2 meals a day, and then as baby gets bigger, by 9 to 12 months, become 3 to 4 meals a day, whereas you keep on breastfeeding as before. I hope that is helpful. All right. Sorry, I need to remove this social media handle. Going back to question, I'll quickly come to Instagram in a minute. Okay, I've answered that. Okay, so sorry. The next question said, Doc, is it true that a nursing mother that has malaria will transfer malaria to her baby through breast milk? The answer is false. Malaria is not transmitted through breast milk. Okay, so you don't transmit malaria to your baby through breast milk. There are only few conditions or medical illnesses, or what else you want to call it, diseases that can be transferred through breast milk from the mother's breast milk to the baby. What we call mother to child transmission. HIV. HIV is number one disease that can be transferred from breast milk to the baby. However, a mother who is on highly active antiretroviral drugs, so if you are taking your HIV medications, you don't need to be afraid. You can actually breastfeed your baby and your baby will not have HIV. But if you are not on medication and you are breastfeeding your baby and you have HIV, you can transmit it to your baby through breast milk. In fact, when we first started the HIV journey, we don't allow HIV positive mothers to breastfeed their babies. We encourage them to formula feed. But we found out that the babies are actually dying more from the formula. So we find out that when we give them the drugs and they breastfeed, the baby actually survive better. So breastfeeding is actually, so right now, if you're an HIV positive mom, you can breastfeed your baby, but you must take your medications before you start breastfeeding, and you must do it as exclusive breastfeeding, no mixed feeding if you are HIV positive. Another condition that you can transmit from your baby, from the breast milk to the baby, is hepatitis B. Hepatitis B virus can be transmitted from the mother to the baby via breast milk. So usually we expect you that you should take your treatment yourself, and your baby should be given the hepatitis B vaccine and hepatitis B immunoglobulin at birth. So those are the two major conditions that you can actually transmit from your breast milk to your baby. Hepatitis C as well, but that's not as common. Malaria, no, you cannot transmit malaria through breast milk. Now, I'm aware that most Nigerians think malaria is fever. Malaria is not fever. Fever is just a symptom. That means your body is hot. There are many reasons why your body can be hot. Malaria is one of them, but malaria is not the only reason. Whether it's the fever or whether it's the proper malaria diagnosis, you cannot transmit it to your baby through breast milk. Now, the mosquito that bites you can bite your baby and transfer the malaria to the baby. So it is the mosquito that will transfer the malaria. It is not your breast milk. Okay. And if you have malaria, you can be treated and you can keep breastfeeding, so you can see your doctor for the treatment. Okay, Peter's Wendy say, good evening, doc. My sister's baby had refused to suck since this February. Okay, and is losing weight. How old is this baby? Okay, baby is 6 months. Your baby will be 6 months in the next 2 months. I don't like that kind of information. how old is the baby now? There's not like baby will be 6 months in 2 months. Is it 2 months or 2 days you want to say? Because that sounds very strange. Why are you telling me baby will be 6 months in 2 months? You better clarify. So anyway, it's better to tell us the baby is so age today. That's more relevant. Baby's weight is birth weight was 4.2. His weight last month was 7 kilos. I don't know his current weight, but what would she do? Thank you very much, Peters Wendy. A baby who is not breastfeeding, a baby who is refusing to suck is ill. That baby needs to see a pediatrician. It is an emergency when the baby is refusing to suck. Okay, because there are many reasons why a baby can refuse to suck, but it's always a sign of a child who is sick. So you need to take the baby. I don't know whether your baby is on exclusive breastfeeding or baby is on formula feeding. So for example, if your baby is on formula feeding and or mixed feeding, you are doing both breastfeeding and formula as well. Sometimes your baby may refuse not to suck because they prefer the formula, or what we call nipple confusion. Those of you who give bottle, so baby will just say that, okay, I prefer to bottle feed rather than take breast milk. So sometimes they will take the bottle, but they will not take breast milk. That is a different scenario. That is what we call nipple confusion, and that is why, as pediatricians, we don't recommend you bottle feed your baby, especially in the first few months of life when they are still getting used to the breast, only breast milk. But if it's a baby who is on exclusive breastfeeding, because I didn't get that information clearly, and is refusing to suck, that child needs to be taken to see a pediatrician, because usually it is when children are sick that they refuse to suck. And we need to see the baby. We need to know why. Especially now, this baby has been refusing to suck since February. That is a whole month. That is too long. So usually when children are sick or babies are sick, especially, please let's not wait for a whole month to know what to do. That child needs to be taken to the hospital, because I'm wondering, what is this baby feeding on? So I can only assume, Peters, that you've been given formula, but then your baby is also losing weight, so which is not good. So you will need to take this baby to see a pediatrician, because we need to know why the baby is not sucking, and then we need to address that, and we need to also address why the baby is losing weight. So Peters, if you're still listening to me, I want you to give me more information. I want to know exact age of this baby today, not it will be 6 months in 2 months time. No, that's not a good way to tell us the age. Just tell me the age today, and I want to know, what is this baby feeding on today? Is baby on an exclusive breastfeeding or now? Those are important information for me. And I want to know, is this baby taking other food and not only breast and just refusing to suck, or baby is also not sucking anything at all? So that would be helpful for me to know additional information I'm going to give you. But more importantly, that baby definitely needs to see one of my colleagues. So that's very important. Okay, let's take a few more questions and I go to Instagram. First reason, my baby is 6 months old, is 6.9 kilos. How much water am I to give her after each feeding time? Okay, so Facebook says that you are just starting complementary feeding. Your baby should be taking as much breast milk as baby was taken before. So what that means is that most of the baby's water supply will be from breast milk. So when you give complementary feed or solid, you can just give, like a little sip of water, maybe not more than 10-20 mils of water. But if you are breastfeeding as much as possible, most of that baby's water supply will come from the breast milk. So it's just a little water, like I said, maybe 10 mils, no more than 20 mils, because we don't want, remember the baby's stomach is like this, very small, just like your fist. And when you give them some of the food, it's taking maybe half of it. If you put too much water, then it will be well full, and that's why you see baby's stomach so full and protruding. That's not what you want. Just a little sip of water. Remember, breast milk as before. That's where the baby is going to get most of the water again. But of course, your baby can drink water now when you start complementary feeds. Okay, I think I'll just go to Instagram and I'll come back to Facebook. Thank you for staying with me, Instagram family. All right, where's the first question? The first question on Instagram by Grace Ayobami. Good evening. Can a baby of 8 months eat any kind of biscuit? I'm going to start a fight. Okay, no biscuits, no soft drink, nothing. Please, let's not do this. This is where we start our fight. Okay? I always tell mothers, children don't know junk food. You taught them how to eat junk food. This is how parents start. Why do you want to give an 8-month-old biscuit? Why do you want to give them soft drink? Then later on, you will tell me, Dr. Gbemisola, maybe it's not eating. You only want to eat biscuits. You only want to drink this. You start it. This is how it starts. So please, no biscuits, no all those things. I don't want to mention names now because I don't want anybody to come and fight me, and I don't want to do any unpaid adverts. All those things you buy, you know them, don't give them to our babies. All those your cheese balls, they say that's complementary feeding guide. There's actually a whole video on what not to give our babies. This video is very important for you to watch. All those pastries, junk food, no soft drink, no malts, no this, no that. Give them real food. The only beverage babies should take before the age of 1 year is water and milk. Nothing else. Not even all your chocolate beverages and all that. No. Only water and milk. I know some people that always miss the water with all those juices. You know what I'm talking about. I also not going to mention their names. Stop it. Don't let them drink plain water. Plain water, or make them milk, their usual formula milk if you want to give formula for babies on complementary feeding, but no other thing. And don't start junk food. Healthy snacks. So if you want to give snacks, healthy snacks. What are healthy snacks? Your fruits. So your 8-month-old can take banana. Your 8-month-old can eat akara. Your 8-month-old can take boiled egg. You've cut it into tiny pieces. Those are healthy snacks that you can give to them. And you can squeeze out your own orange that you made in your own kitchen, that you peel by yourself. You squeeze it out and you give your baby. You can make smoothies. You make your banana, you add a little bit of your milk, the baby formula to it, and blend it, make it into smoothie. Very nice. So those are the snacks that we want you to give the babies. Avoid all those pastries. They are all just full of sugar and flour and salt. Not good for your children's body. And children likes them because sugar is addictive. And sometimes they begin to like them and they don't want to eat the real food. And then you come back to the pediatrician and like, oh, Dr. Baby, my baby's not eat. They only want to eat biscuits. I'll say it is your fault because that baby doesn't know what biscuits looks like only if a mother has not introduced it. And I don't know why we're always so much in a hurry to introduce those things to our children. Please don't do it. And even when we go for all these events and all that, mothers, the only thing we carry in our bag is always all those biscuits and all that. Please don't. Put healthy snacks. You will find out that your children will like it when we start them on the healthy snack option very, very early. So I hope we will not fight because those kind of questions we fight over them. Okay, travel with Carrie. Say my name is Damilare. My baby have infection almost every month. Wow. Resulting in cough. What can I do? She's 2 years old. It is not normal for a baby to have infection every month and to have infection every month. So I really want you to see a pediatrician. I'm strongly suspecting, number one, is that your baby is not having infection every month, because it's not every cough that is infection. Okay, baby can cough for several reasons. They can cough from allergies, they can cough from asthma, they can cough from other things, they can cough from every other thing irritating them, or if they can have infection in other organs, like if they have adenoids or tonsils, sometimes it could manifest as cough as well. But those are those organs causing it, not in the chest itself, what we call pneumonia. So you need to clarify that. So is this cough infection or something else? That is number one. Even if it is infection, why is it happening every month? What should we be doing differently? Is this that the child is being exposed to this infection every month? For example, if your baby goes to creche or daycare, and other children have cough and catarrh, and so it's a vicious cycle. So as you are treating your own child and your child is getting better, another child has just caught it, then your child goes back into that same pool. and then catch it again, and then becomes a vicious cycle. So sometimes it may just be as simple as taking a child out of crash. So for me as a pediatrician, what is more important is not to just be giving your baby treatment and treating infection. It is why is this child always having infection every month? We need to get to the bottom of that. We need to address it, and then that will put a stop. Some children also have cough from heart problems. Some children have a heart disease, holes in the heart, and they will have heart failure and they will cough. So cough is a symptom. It's just tell us that it doesn't necessarily always mean infection. So it could also be infection. I'm not saying you're wrong, but we need to be sure what it is, and we need to know why it is happening every month, and we need to address it. So if you have never seen a pediatrician, proper one, please see one. Okay. I always try to tell my parents that everybody will see a child, everybody, not every doctor who is seeing a child is a pediatrician. Okay. Any doctor can see a child in any hospital. So you need to be sure you are seeing a pediatrician. If you are not sure, you may want to go to a tertiary level hospital, because if you're a child in a tertiary level hospital, you will be seen by a pediatrician. And most likely you'll be seen by a pediatrician that deals with cough and respiratory problems, so they will know what exactly is wrong and we can address it. So if you don't give the right treatment, you're not going to get the right results. If we don't deal with the underlying cause, we're not going to get the solution. So it is important that you do that. More importantly is why. Why? We need to answer that question, and we need to get to the bottom of it. We may need to do x-rays, we need to do more tests, we may need to do other things. But until we get to the bottom of it, we're not going to get the solution. So don't be going to those hospitals where they only just do blood tests and write antibiotics for you, and you go and you come back again. Next time you must ask, I want to see a pediatrician. I want to know why my baby is having this recurrent cough. We need to get to the bottom of it. That's the most important thing to do. All right. Chummy for King. Chummy for King is the most consistent Instagram follower. He's always here. Thank you so much for being consistent. Good evening, dog. Please, why is it important to dilute orange juice? Okay. Before giving it to a baby. Yeah. Okay. It's not for every baby. Usually we start for 6 months or when you're just starting complementary feeding. Okay. Orange is from the what we call the citrus fruits family. What they mean is that those are like your lemon, your what's the other one? Lemon, oranges, tangerine, and all that. They have citric acid. They have acid in them. Okay, so they are acidic. So and for newborn babies, I mean for 6-month-old babies and all that, we want to reduce the concentration of that acid. So that is why we ask you to dilute them. Usually by the time they're about 8 months or so, they can handle it. So it is that is just the only reason why we dilute it in that age group, because we're trying to make the acid less conk, especially when you're giving it to the baby, because it can affect their mouth and all that. But otherwise, it's fine. Some of you notice that that's why most of you cannot handle lemon, because it's so, that is even more acidic, and you get that irritation on your lips. It's the acid. So when you are giving babies, especially oranges, we try to dilute it for that purpose. But that's only for the first few months. Usually by the time they're about 8 to 9 months, you don't need to dilute it further. Okay, Debe, if I say good evening, dog. My 7 weeks baby has been breastfeeding exclusively. Good. It's always sucking. I seem it's not getting satisfied. His stomach is also flat. What do I do? Okay. Thank you so much for that question. Now, how do you know a baby is satisfied with breast milk? Because that is actually the question you are asking. I always try to explain that you don't know your baby is satisfied with breast milk because your baby is always sucking. Babies suck for other reasons. So breast milk, sucking is not the only way by which you know that a baby is hungry. Okay, so babies can suck for other reasons. They suck for pleasure, they suck for bonding with their mom, they suck for all those things. So saying because your baby is sucking 24/7 does not mean baby is not getting enough breast milk, because for new moms especially, they worry about that because they think, oh, my baby is sucking, that baby is not getting enough milk, and then they don't want to go and fill them with so much milk formula until the baby's tummy is so full and people will not suck. But that's not it. So the most objective way to know your baby is getting enough breast milk is the fact that the baby gains weight. So weight gain for us as pediatricians is the most objective way to know your baby is getting enough breast milk. So what was your baby's weight at I don't know, your baby's 7 weeks now. When you went for immunization last, what's your baby's weight? As your baby gain weight. Okay, so usually you go for your next immunization at 10 weeks, they weigh your baby again as the baby gain weight. If your baby is gaining weight steadily, your baby is getting enough breast milk, because a baby who is not getting enough breast milk will not gain weight. So that is the most objective evidence for us that your baby is getting enough breast milk. I know that that takes you time, because obviously you're going to go to the hospital after 3 weeks. So there are other telltale signs to know your baby is getting enough breast milk. Number one, most babies will sleep. So your baby should be sleeping at least 3 to 4 hours, after sucking. So baby is able to sleep long after they have finished sucking. That means your baby is getting enough breast milk. Those some babies are sleeping, but they just want the breast in their mouth, even though they are sleeping. That one is because that is more of security or reassurance. So baby is trying to be sure that this breast milk supply is not going to run away by the time I'm waking up. So some of them want to hold on to that breast in their mouth just to be sure that you are not running away. It's just reassurance they need. So for those scenarios, just remove the breast from their mouth, stay closer enough, just kind of pet them, reassure them, and then once they're sleeping, you can leave. So that's another one. Some babies just want that bonding with their parents. So they just want sucking. They just want to be sure the mom is nearby. So that does not mean they are not. Then also babies, when they suck, they will pass urine, they will move their bowel. So if you are changing your nappies like 8 times a day, or it's not only poo, it can be wet nappies. You also know that because the wet nappies is coming from the milk the baby has sucked. So you also know that your baby is getting enough. Of course, even when baby has finished sucking, they will feel a little bit heavier. You will feel your breast filled up at the beginning, and then at the end you can feel your breast deflating. If you also want to be 100% sure, you can actually express your breast milk. So you can actually express at a point, so you can see how much, and then you can give it with a cup and a spoon, and then you can see how much exactly you express. Say for example, if you for a 7-week-old baby, if you're expressing like 60 mils, 100 mils of breast milk, and that baby is finishing that, whether the tummy is flat or cycle or whatever, that baby has taken enough breast milk. Okay, so it is not by how it looks, how they feel. No. So if your baby is able to finish 100 mils of breast milk, for example, at a go, that is enough for a 7 weeks old baby. Usually about 60 mil, because 7 weeks old baby, I don't know the weight of your baby. Let's say your baby is 4 kilos or your baby is about 5 kilos. Most of them, they need just about 500 kilocalories, so which is about, let's even just make it like 600 mils of breast milk or 700 mils of breast milk, and your baby is going to take eight, let's say three every 3 hours. So if you divide 8 by 700, which is I'm over calculating now, that is still less than 100 mils every 3 hours for that baby to get enough. So if your baby is getting up to 100 mils and is taking it 8 times a day, that baby is getting enough breast milk. So it doesn't matter how the tummy feel or whether the baby wants to sleep on the breast 24/7, the baby is getting enough. So you see some babies, they will suck and suck, they will see vomit and they will keep wanting sucking. So that tells you that sucking is not just about food to the baby. It's about pleasure, it's about bonding, it's about security, it's about all that. So I've given you the most objective means, which is what the pediatrician we will use. When you come to us, we weigh your baby. We want to see the baby gain weight. But for you, you can use those small guys. So if you are seeing that your breast is getting full, your baby is sucking it out and empty the two breasts, or you express it out, you are making you express, let's say 100 means your baby is finishing it at one go. That is more than enough for that baby, and that means your baby is getting enough breast milk. So you cannot just rely on, oh, tummy is flat, tummy, because some babies don't have the tummy that is distending and all that. So what is more important is the weight gain, and that you are bringing out the milk yourself, you are lactating well. And when your baby suck like 5-10 minutes, empties the breast, then you know that your baby is getting enough breast milk. I hope that is helpful. So don't be discouraged, and don't let people put you under pressure, because this is where the breast exclusive breastfeeding people will come in. Oh, your baby is hungry, or the grandparents. Oh, your baby is hungry. You better go and buy formula. Like, no, you would think that they are helping you, but they are creating more problems for you. Because when you exclusive breastfeed, your baby is protected against all sorts of infections. You don't know what you may not need to go into the hospital except for your immunizations and all that. But they think they're helping you. They give you formula, bottle feeding, diarrhea, pneumonia. Then you become our customer. At the end of the day, you are in and out of hospital since you could have avoided just by doing exclusive breastfeeding. So you have to be firm and make up your decision. I've told you how to know your baby is getting enough breast milk. So don't let nobody try to confuse you. And that's why I actually put together that FTM companion, because I want new mothers to know what is normal, how to go about everything. Breastfeeding is one of the main topics. So you don't let anybody kind of give you any unnecessary pressure to formula feed. You can exclusive breastfeed your babies. Even twins can be exclusive breastfed. So don't fall into pressure. And the more your baby suck on your breast, the more your milk will flow. So just stick to that, and your baby will be fine, and you'll be happy. All right, I decided to go long, my, because that's a very common question that I've answered and all that. So yeah, maybe if I've answered your question about your baby, so you need to know that your baby just sometimes at the beginning phase, baby always just want to be with their mother. It's a matter of reassurance. It's not a matter of the fact that they actually want to suck. So if you think sometimes for African mothers, sometimes you back your baby, it's fine. Sometimes you just put them on the bed and kind of, you know, rock them, and yes, and don't worry, all that phase will calm down. So I know when I first had my first baby, I also thought, oh, I'm never going to sleep again. But it's a fasting phase. After a while, those will pass. And then sometimes babies at that age, they're having colic. And when they have colic, you know, which is like this discomfort they have in their tummy, and when they're passing that, sometimes they use the sucking as a form of pain relief, or as a form of relief for them, you know, because if sometimes when we want to do procedures on babies, instead of giving them anesthesia and all that, we actually just put something in their mouth to suck. So that sucking is a way of relieving any discomfort they are going through as well. So that is actually what some babies are doing. So you don't need to panic, but again, it's a passing phase. Most of the time, they're about 3 months. All the colic, all those things will go away. The babies is bigger. They are more in tune to their bodies. They are more reassured. They can now see you very well. They can smile at you. They can know that you're not running away. So they will not be as, you know, all that clinging, sucking, and everything will reduce. So I hope that is helpful. Oh my God, time is flying. All right. She4 girl say, good evening, my boy of 4 years, 10 months, eye is red, was itchy, painful. After some medication, it tends to be fine, but the redness is still there. He's still on medication. Then just continue the medication, finish the medication, it will be fine. I'm sure the medication maybe for like 7-10 days. Just finish it. But more importantly, if you keep on having red eyes, you need to go to see the eye doctor, the ophthalmologist. Some children have what we call allergic conjunctivitis. You know, they tend to have these red eyes. They may have to give you medication to prevent or to handle the allergy aspect of it. So just finish your medication, no hurry. When you finish, if there's no improvement, you can always go back and see your eye doctor for further management. They know what to do. Bella so rich. Good evening. My 3-year-old doesn't chew at the moment, so can I help her to chew? It's just an habit thing. So you just encourage the child to chew. Sometimes you may just deliberately buy things that will require chewing, you know, or there are even chew toys that some occupational therapists do give to children. So you just to encourage them to chew, but in the process, make sure at least for now the food are soft. Make sure you cut everything into tiny pieces so that the child does not choke on them. But it's just an habit that you just need to encourage the child to do. Okay, Mama Sita say you are joining for the first time. Wow, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We are always here every Monday. Feel free to join us every day, every Monday, and ask your children health questions. And you can always post them on our Facebook group every day, Monday to Saturday. Okay, Chief girl say my 4-year, 10-month-old. Okay, the same 4-year, 10-month-old also stutter and stammers when trying to talk. He just started last month. Okay, so there's no need to panic. Most children actually go through a phase of stammering and all that what the speech therapists have recommended is that don't force them to finish the thing. Don't finish it for them, which is what we normally do, because sometimes it's the anxiety and they are rushing and all that. So sometimes just being patient with them and let them get out whatever they want to say and let them finish it on time. Just try to reassure them that it's okay. Don't hurry them along. Don't make it look like you're impatient with them and you're panic. Sometimes if you just give them that calm demeanor, you are looking, you wait for them to get through it. With time, they begin to slow down their speech and then they can talk, and then it will stop. So just reassure them and don't try to hurry them along. Don't scream on them. Don't shout on them. You're going to make it worse, which is what most parents tend to do, unfortunately. So sometimes it's just patience and it's a passing phase. But if you think it's going on for too long and you're worried, you can always see the speech therapist, um and they can answer you. Okay. Mama Sita say, yes, it's about babies, about children. This is Ask the Pediatricians Foundation, and we answer questions on any children health issues in 1 hour. Okay. I think I'll just take one more question on Instagram, then I'll go back to Facebook. Tommy for King say, when should the baby stop night feeding? My baby is 8 months old. They can breastfeed all night, doesn't matter. Almost every 2 hours to feed is so tiring. No, your baby should can breastfeed at night. You don't need to get up to breastfeed your 8 month old. If you have them by your side, you can just put them by the side and breastfeed them. Make sure your 8 months old have the complementary feeding in the evening time before they go to bed. So that will help them better. Like I said, sometimes the sucking is not because the baby is really hungry, it's just sucking of habit. But there's nothing wrong with them sucking in the night. And some babies prefer to suck all night. So that during the daytime, they just do more of the complementary feeding. So every baby is different. Some babies will sleep all through the night and not bother. So just adjust and but the most important thing is to make sure that your baby at least is getting the complementary feeding as well. At least one in the evening, maybe around 6, 7, depending. I don't know what time your baby sleeps. So those are the things you need to walk into it, and with time it will go away. Okay, so Debe Ife is saying your baby was 2.6 at immunization after immunization last week. It was 3.6, so that's good. So your baby has gained 1 kilo, and that's for us, it's not so bad for a 7 weeks old. So that is actually fine. So your baby is gaining weight, your baby is getting enough breast milk. Just relax and not worry. Okay, I think let's just go back to Instagram. I'll come back. I mean, sorry, let's go back to Facebook. I'll come back to Instagram. All right. Okay, I think I've answered this question. Maybe was 0.6 at 6 weeks is 4.2. Is the weight okay? Its weight is very, very okay. Just keep exclusively breastfeeding. Facebook says my 6 months runs temperature at night 38.5, but in the morning he has a normal body temperature. Okay, so you may need to check, is your room too hot at night? Some of you, your windows are shut, no circulation, no ventilation, and you wear tight clothes for them at night because you're afraid of cold and all that. So you may need to reduce the heat in the room. Make sure the room is ventilated. It's okay to use AC. It's okay to open your windows for fresh air to come in. If the weather is already hot, there's no need to overdress the babies because they are going to sleep. So if you are the one overdressing the baby at night, you may need to reduce it, because if the baby is always having temperature at night and baby is otherwise well, it may just be the heat. But if your baby is also having other symptoms and all that, yeah, you need to check with the doctor. Mommy said, good evening. My baby turns 7 months tomorrow and he still cries when he's fed anything aside breast milk. Okay, your baby should not be crying when he's fed other food, complementary feeding. So the question is, what are you feeding the baby? How are you feeding the baby? Are you making it a fun time, or are you making it a war time? So I will recommend first, because we don't have enough time for you to give me back all these answers. I recommend you go through our guide session on complementary feeding. What is the right quantity to feed? What is the texture? How much and all that. Just try and make sure you are doing it right first, and then you can now, correct anything that is not right. But really, babies should not be crying when. I know some babies are also very fussy, so some children may not like certain food, and you need to check. Okay, maybe what else can I do? Introduce new food after like 1 week, and all that. The way you prepare the food. Some of us will prepare our food, no taste, nothing, and you expect the baby to just take it like that. Of course, they're not going to like it. So make sure that when you make your pap, you can use natural sweetener like dates and all that. You make sure you can use baby formula to sweeten it up. You can cook other food, your porridge, your yam porridge, your potato porridge. Don't just make it only pap and plain pap alone. So I always want you to go through the complementary feeding guide first. If you are making like some of those our draw soup and all that, there's nothing stopping you from adding a little salt for it to have taste. So don't give baby bland, tasteless, colorless food and then you expect them to just take it like that. No, they won't. So you need to make sure you are doing everything right first. And then your baby, and then make sure feeding time is fun time. Don't make it a war time. Let the baby be relaxed. Feed them with cup and spoon. Use colorful toys as a plate, colorful spoon. Just all those things are very important to make sure that children actually have a pleasant experience when they are eating complementary food. It's very important. Um, you see, as if I advise people to lie down to breastfeed a newborn baby. Breastfeeding lying down is a posture for breastfeeding if you know how to do it. If you are not sure how to do it, don't sit up and breastfeed. But people that know how to do it, you can lie down and breastfeed your baby. So it's one of the breastfeeding postures. So there's nothing wrong with it. But some of you don't know how to do it, and you may end up putting the breast milk in the nose, or so if you don't want that. So just make sure you know what you're doing. If you're not sure, if you don't know how to, don't just sit up and breastfeed your baby. I can't find anywhere this guide section. Okay, you need to go to our Facebook group, Exit. Where you are now is our page, because I can see your name, so I assume you're on our page. So you need to go to our Facebook group. Ask anybody you can post this question on our Facebook group, and one of our moderators will give you that link to the guide section. If you download the full Facebook app and you are on Ask the Paediatricians Facebook group, if you go to the menu section where you have topics, you have media, all those things, there's a menu section that is guides. So you click on guides, you will see it. If you go to our Facebook group and you post this question, one of our moderators will show you the picture of how to locate the guides. But you must have the full Facebook app, not Facebook Lite. The full Facebook app, up to date, and you will see it. Trust me, they are there. Okay, another person say, my baby of 2 months don't start to when sound is being made. I noticed that 2 weeks ago, though he has ear discharge. Wow, he has been placed on drugs. I'm worried. Yes, I'm also worried if your baby is not responding to sound, because we have to be sure the baby can hear. But then you seem like your baby also has ear infection. So if they have ear infection, there may be a lot of water in the hair, and that may affect the baby's ability to hear. So why not let's wait for the baby's ear infection to clear, and then you can see the pediatrician for follow-up to make sure that the baby can hear. Ideally, all our babies should have newborn hearing screen, but we don't do that in Nigeria. In UK, all those other places, it's routine. When a baby is born, we check for their hearing. In some private hospitals in Nigeria, you can get your newborn hearing screening done at a moderate fee, but I don't think it's routine now. But in this kind of a baby, we need to do a hearing screen if you're worried that your baby is not responding to sound. But first, let's get the ear infection fully treated, and then we can go back to check for hearing and be sure there's no problem. Another user is saying, my baby is coughing, choking from sleep. That's not good. How old is your baby? I lie down and breastfeed. Baby so always start with the age of the baby. Okay, but if your baby is still if you are lying down to breastfeed, you don't know, most likely you are not doing it properly. If your baby is choking because you're lying down to breastfeed, please sit up and breastfeed properly. It's okay. So that it's because when you breastfeed, you need to make sure that the milk doesn't return. And for newborn babies, they can have reflux, and it's very important. So there are techniques, like I said, to breastfeeding lying down. And so if your baby is choking, I have a feeling you're not doing it right, or your baby is having bad reflux, your baby is aspirating the milk. What that means is that the milk is going into the airway instead of into the food way. So you need to set up and breastfeed your baby. And after that, you need to pat the back a little bit so that the milk settles before you put down the baby flat again. So you really need to know how to do this thing. If you are not, please sit up and breastfeed your baby, and to avoid, because choking is worries us as pediatricians. We don't want your baby to choke. Okay, the next question. 6 month baby had boils on the face and the hands. Take the hospital to tomorrow, but the boils are no longer appearing for 4 days now. Okay, if the boils have disappeared, you don't need to go to the hospital anymore, okay? And can I say take out? Well, you can just watch. Usually boils don't disappear so far. So I have a feeling that maybe what your baby has is like a reaction to something. They will look like swelling like boils, but they will go away. But usually boils will bring out pus. So they are two different things. So, but if your baby is fine, just leave the baby alone. There's no need to do anything. If your baby is 6 months old and you are just introducing new food, you may need to watch what you just added to your baby's food, because the way you describe that thing sounds like a child who is having an allergic reaction, what we call like wheals, allergic wheals. And it may be a reaction to what, and because you'll be 6 months old, I'm suspecting you just start some new food, either formula or whatever you are starting, it's possible your baby is reacting to it. So you may want to see your pediatrician for that purpose. So, because you didn't provide all those clarity, I would have loved to also see what you said is a boy. So, but thinking laterally now, I'm wondering whether your baby is having an allergic response to something that you think are boils, which we'll call they are not boils. We call them allergic wheals or purpura or whatever. Don't worry with that. But you don't need to take the baby to hospital if there are no more boils. Okay, the next question. My baby of 5 months, when she sits, she bends down to lick her big toe. Is it a cause for concern? No, it is not. It is normal for babies to put their feet in their mouth at that age. Don't worry, they are not cannibals, or they are not anything. It is part of normal development in babies, and you don't need to worry about it. All right. Another person, is it a must to feed my baby with baby milk after exclusive breastfeeding? My baby is 6 months. No, you don't ever need to buy formula to feed your baby. So when you start complementary feeding, you don't need to buy formula. You don't need to use baby milk. You use your breast milk as the milk. It's perfectly okay. So you don't ever need, if you watch our complementary feeding videos, you will never see any artificial milk of baby milk, so-called baby milk, in that video, because all the food you need to feed your baby, they are in your kitchen, and the milk that your baby still needs is just the breast milk. And so that's a very good question. So if you want more, you can go to our guide section, or you can buy the FTM companion. You will see the section on complementary feeding, detailed information there. Please, which blood purifier can I use for what is 1 to 7 months? Is it a 1 year, 7 months old, or is it a I don't know. Anyway, babies don't need no blood purifier. They don't need any blood purifiers. Don't give drugs. The less drugs your baby take, the happier the pediatrician is, okay? We don't want you to give baby drugs at all. Give them food, good fruits, vegetables. That's all the blood purifier they need. And all these nomenclatures, they are not in medical textbooks. Blood purifier, there's nothing to purify in the blood. All those things are from all these our our competitors, all these babalawos that are now speaking to people on social media, telling you your blood is dirty, you need to purify blood. And that is absolute nonsense. There's nothing purifying in the blood. Your blood is either low or no, or you need to take something that will increase your blood level. So I don't know where people get all this impression about blood purifiers. And anyway, bottom line, please don't give the children any of those so-called blood purifiers, immune boosters, all sorts of things that people sell. Don't do that. You cause more harm than good. Some of those things are dangerous on the kidneys and on the livers, and these children's organs are not as strong like yours, so they don't need any of those things. Why do you think babies need to have their blood purified? I don't know. Anyway, let me just stop there. Okay, Shidera say my baby of 4 months weight is 4.5. What was the baby's birth weight? Okay, 2.2. So your baby was a preterm baby and she was transfused EBC due to neonatal jaundice. The weight is fine, but then 2.2, your baby has only gained 2 kilos, 2.3 kilos in 4 months. But then your baby was 2.2, your baby was sick, was in the hospital, had EBT. Your baby may have lost weight at some point. What is more relevant for me is what was the weight of your baby on discharge, but 4.5 is not so bad. You need to tell me how preterm your baby was so that we can calculate the corrected age, and then we'll compare the weights now to the corrected age of your baby, because your baby is 4 months. If the baby was born before 37 weeks, your baby is actually technically not 4 months old. We need to remove the extra few months that the baby was born too early. Unless the baby was born at time, you didn't tell us those information. So it's very difficult to say. But more importantly, your baby needs to be followed up by a pediatrician. So please, if you have not seen your pediatrician for follow-up, you need to see them and make sure they can also check for you and advise. And why are you not exclusive breastfeeding your baby? We prefer you exclusive breastfeed your baby, but today we will not go into that. Onofiak say, good evening, dog. God bless you. Amen. My baby is 6 months old. We are done exclusive breastfeeding. Well done. I've been finding it difficult to feed my baby. She cries because before she's fed. I started complementary feeding. Immediately she closed 6 months. I've tried other food like cereal, pap, purees. Oh my God. She closes her mouth. Okay, so Onofiak, you need to go and do the complementary feeding course. You need to understand complementary because maybe it's just 6 months old. I don't know how many weeks after 6 months is your baby, because I'm seeing so many food being tried in a 6 month old. So you need to understand. I hope you are not trying to feed your baby only complementary feeds. Your baby needs to just take as much of breast milk as possible, and you gradually add the complementary foods. And the quantity you start with is just so small. You need to give it in the right proportion, the right texture. You need to give it cup and spoon and not bottle. You need to make sure you're doing everything right first. So it should not be a battle. Just relax. Your baby just 6 months old, so we're just starting. So there's nothing to worry. So you need to fall before you continue. Just go first and do the complementary feeding guide, or go through the complementary feeding units in the FTM companion. Make sure you get all the basics of that complementary feeding and start again, and gently and gradually. Don't rush through many food at a time, because I'm seeing so many things, cereals, pap, worry. This baby is just 6 months old. So you just started maybe a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. So there's no need to start rushing several food at once. We need to do it gradually. And the quantity, remember, is not a lot when you are just starting. In fact, the first few feeds, maybe 3 spoons is fine. So you need to understand all that, and then we gradually increase. So those information, they are very crucial. So because I don't have time to ask you back and forth to know what you're doing, what you're not doing, so it's difficult. But I always just recommend you go through it first, and then you can let us know where you're struggling. But just relax. There's no need to panic. You're just starting. You will get it. Uh, Good evening. Thank you for your help. You're welcome. My baby, 7 years, always complain of something appear and disappear between her neck. I don't know what make it appear and disappear. Okay, the question is, have you seen what appears? Have you seen what disappear? That is number one. Or you maybe say something has appeared, but you can't say it. That is number two. We need to know which one. Is there something actually appearing and disappearing? So we need to know. So things like maybe it's lymph nodes, or maybe there's an allergy, those kind of things. But if your baby is saying something is appearing and disappearing, and you can't see it or you can't feel it, then we need to know whether is this child having a kind of a feeling of something where there's nothing there. So we really need to know. But I would just recommend for a 7-year-old that you take them to the hospital, and let's do a proper evaluation of what is really going on, and then we can because if we don't know what is appearing or disappearing, we don't even know what to advise. So that's the issue. Okay, as what more can I start breastfeeding my baby while we are both lying in bed? Whenever you are able to do it comfortably. Okay, it's whenever you're able to do it comfortably, and you know how to. It's a technique. You must be able to feed your baby without blocking the nose. Baby is able to suck comfortably, and that's it. So if you're able to do it, that's fine. Some people do it from day one. Some people can never do it because they don't get it. So you sit up and breastfeed your baby. Just do what works for you, really. Don't just do what works for you. All right. Um, last symbol. What please? Which blood tonic is good for a baby of 6 years, and he always have rashes on his neck and chest. So why does he need blood tonic? Because he has rashes? No, children don't need no blood tonic. So we only give blood tonic if a child's blood level is low. So if you have not done a blood test and the blood level is low, then your child does not need blood tonic. That is number one. So please don't go and buy blood tonic when it has not been prescribed by a doctor. It's very, very important. Babies can get poisoned by blood tonic. There's what we call iron poisoning. If you just give them blood tonic, if they get too much of it, because some of you, the dose we give children is so small compared to the adults. It's not something you just buy and be taking like you do in adults. Mm-mm. So in children, we need to know the blood level. We need to know whether it is low. And if it is low, why is it low? So there are different reasons why blood level could be low. It could be due to iron deficiency, which is what most people call blood tonic. So that is iron supplement. Sometimes it is not iron. Sometimes it is folic acid that is low. Sometimes it's vitamin B12 that is low. So what we need to give is folic acid and not iron. So we need to know which one it is. Some children blood are low because they are HBSS. They have sickle cell anemia. If it's sickle cell anemia that is making their blood to be low, if you go and give them iron, you are actually going to cause problem for them, because we don't give iron to people who have sickle cell anemia. We don't give, they have too much iron already, and those iron actually destroy their liver. So children with sickle cell anemia don't need iron, they need folic acid. That's what we want to give them every day, not iron. So because they have so much of iron they are storing, and it's actually destroying their liver. So based on all these things I've told you, it is very dangerous practice for any mother or father to just go to a chemist or a pharmacy shop and buy blood tonic for children. Never do it. You can cause serious problem for our babies. So if you worry that your baby's blood is low or not, go to see your doctor. Let them do the blood test. When they do the blood test, they'll tell you, oh, this is the PCV, it is low. There are some other things we'll see in the blood test that will tell us whether it's iron deficiency or it's folic acid deficiency or it's vitamin B12 deficiency or whatever other deficiency. And then we'll give you the treatment. If it's iron deficiency, yes, we'll give you blood tonic, and we have to tell you the dose, the right quantity to give. It is not heavy, it is not 5 meals for everybody. It is some children, okay, let me not go into that. So don't do that. Then if it is folic acid, we'll tell you the folic acid. And when we give you the drugs, we need to check again. Maybe after 3 months, oh, it is the iron is back to normal now, then stop. It's not something you take forever. So it is not multivitamins. Iron blood tonic is not like multivitamins. You guys can take multivitamins as you like. Most of them have B soluble, they go away in the urine. Iron is not like that. Iron can poison, there's iron poisoning. Children can get poison with iron. And while I'm on that, let me just tell you that don't leave your blood tonic tablets or capsule for children to go and be chewing on them. Don't tell them it is sweet. It looks red and it's actually sweet. And children will think it's sweet and they want to go and take it. We've seen children with iron poisoning because of this, and it can kill them. Seriously, I'm not joking now. So don't leave your blood capsules everywhere for children to go and lick. Don't ever call medication sweet to children because they don't know the difference. Don't call vitamin C sweet. It's not sweet, it is medication. And keep them away from the children. It's so important. So don't give blood tonic if a doctor has not prescribed it. And if your baby is having rashes, please see a doctor to know why the child is having rashes, and let's deal with the cause of the rash. It does not necessarily mean the baby needs any blood tonic. It does not mean the baby needs blood purifier or any of those things. No, all those things are from our grandparents' medicine. That's what they told us, that okay, there's some dirt in the blood. That's why baby is having rashes. No, that's not medical truth. That is just uh, grandparents, midwives tales. So you really need to know what is going on before you do it. And again, please, the less drugs children take, the better. Okay, drugs and poisons. Okay, the only thing that make a drug not a poison is the dose. So even your paracetamol can kill a child. Depending on the dose of paracetamol you give a child, the liver will be damaged forever. So there is no drug that is safe. All drugs are poison. What differentiates them from being a poison, from being something good and effective, is the dose. And that is why we don't like the native people's method, because they just tell you to keep drinking it. No dose, nothing. So at the end of the day, you may take something, it may be beneficial, but if you take too much, it can cause harm. So we really need to understand all these principles. So that's why we don't want you to self-medicate. That's why we don't want you to take. The only thing we allow you to take by yourself, maybe multivitamins. Other things, please don't, unless a doctor has told you to. I hope that's helpful. Oh, my time is gone now. I need to finish. Okay, so let me just finish all the questions that are left. Don't put more questions. We just finished the one that are here already, and then we close. So 5-month-old baby have running nose for 3 weeks. Okay, we've given medication, no improvement. She's having dirt in her eyes. We've given eye drop. We have advised to stop the eye drop. What is my advice? Okay, my advice is to go back to the doctor who saw this child, and let's have a diagnosis, because I've not seen the diagnosis yet. The child is having cough and catarrh for 3 weeks, having eye discharge. There's something that must connect the two of them. There must be something connecting them. Is it a viral infection and all that? So initially viral infection should not last for more than 2 weeks. I don't recommend cough syrup in children. I will never give a 5-month-old no coughs. No. So I don't even want to recommend that. I will recommend that you see a pediatrician and know what is going on with this baby, and we can deal with it. And sometimes it's not even the treatment. Sometimes it's maybe the baby is being re-exposed again to the same infection. For example, if the baby is in a daycare, maybe we just need to take baby out of daycare. Maybe it's just somebody needs to wash their hands. Maybe so. For us, more than, I think one of the things I want to pass to us is that more than when you go to doctors, more than just getting drugs and treatment, it is about how do we prevent this thing from happening again? Why is it happening? How do we prevent it? And this is actually what we do here. So it's very important that we deal with that, so that it's not just about drugs. Sometimes some things don't need drugs. They just need people to do the right things. You need to wash your hands. You keep children away from those who are coughing and having catarrh. Make sure the baby is not putting their hands in their eyes. So those little things, they can do wonders. So I hope that will be helpful. Okay, I think I will rush now. Breastfeeding mother, 22 months, take a break of 3 to 5 days. After this break, and this mother still breastfeed the baby, or the milk would have dried up. You will know if the milk has dried up, it has dried up, you can stop. If the milk has not dried up, you want to keep breastfeeding, you can continue. So that is not an hypothetical question. You will know what happened. So you can do whichever one works for you. 7-month-old baby can sit without support. Should the baby be taught how to stretch? You don't need to teach the baby anything. Baby is sitting, just leave the baby. Why does baby need to stretch? Just leave the baby alone. When baby is ready, baby will crawl. When baby is ready, baby will walk. Just you don't need to teach anything. Okay. Can I use powder on my 6-month-old baby, especially when it is hot? No, you don't need to use powder. Keep the baby cool. When it is hot, keep them cool. Light clothing, the room is cool. Use your AC, use your fan, give them cool baths. That is all you need to do. The powder is when the baby has had heat rashes, but the best option is to prevent the heat rashes by keeping the baby cool. So don't aim for the powder, because what most of your powder do is actually just block, it will actually contribute to heat rashes being formed. So you don't need to do powder, you need to keep the baby cool. We did actually a group discussion on heat rashes, and the article is on our website now. You can go and read it and see what the dermatologist says about that. My 5-year-old opened his mouth unconsciously. How can I correct it? Just tell him to close his mouth. That's all. Just keep encouraging him. Close your mouth. Sometimes it's just an habit. We just remind them after a while. But if the child has other developmental issues or cerebral palsy, all those kind of things, then that is not something the child can control. Then you need to see your pediatrician. It may just be something Okay. Maureen, my baby have rashes for weeks on the chest. It's rashes. What can you do? You need to see a doctor. We need to see the rashes. We cannot treat rashes without seeing it. We need to see the rash. We need to know what is causing the rash. Then we can recommend appropriate treatment. Please don't self-medicate, because some of the treatment we give to these rashes actually make them worse. So we need to see the rashes, okay? Gloria, baby is 6 months but not sitting up well. That's fine. She can sit for some minutes and slide back. That is normal. Is she being lazy? She's not. Baby starts sitting with support at 5 to 6 months. They start sitting without support at 7 to 8 months. So there's nothing wrong with this baby, Gloria. Just make sure you put something to support the baby's back. That's all. Don't be in a hurry. Development is gradually, so there's no need to worry. Okay. Okay. So Chidera, yes, your baby was born at 35 weeks and the weight drops to 1.8. So good. Thank you for the update. So your baby's corrected age is actually your baby, you say your baby is 4 months 3 weeks now, so your baby is actually 3 months 2 weeks old. And remember, your baby is starting at 1.8. So if your baby is 4.5 now, that's really good. I'm not worried. Just keep feeding the baby. I would have recommended exclusive breastfeeding, but if you have doing your mixed feeding, well, that's up to you, but I'll recommend exclusive. Maybe 7.3 at 10 weeks, 8.5 at 4 months. Should I be worried? No, there's no need to be worried. Your baby's weight is on the high side, but just your baby was big right from the beginning. It was 3.7, so that's quite on the high side. So depending on you and your husband's weights, whether you are big people and all that, some babies are just big like that. Just keep exclusive breastfeeding. But we need to keep an eye on it. So we'll monitor the baby closely and make sure if there's any other things that worry us, then we'll check. But otherwise, most time we just monitor for now. Okay. Baby is 3.6 at birth, 6 weeks, 4.2. The weight is okay. I think I've answered that question before. 5 month baby, runny nose. I think I've answered this question before. Please don't repeat your question. No, I've answered them. 7 weeks, reduce the way she used to eat, but she plays and does not run temperature. What could be wrong? Maybe nothing is wrong, but what is the weight of the baby? I think that's more important. So as baby gets bigger, they are more efficient in sucking. So they will get all the milk they need without sucking for as long as they were sucking when they were just learning. As you are learning to breastfeed your baby is also learning to suck. So both of you are learning. So don't worry. So as when they become more efficient, you see them, they suck very quickly and fast. So it doesn't mean the baby is not taking enough. Maybe it's just doing it faster and more efficiently. So I don't think there's anything wrong. Just check that the baby is okay. Somebody is helping me. Thank you. Just make sure the baby is gaining weight. That's what is important. Scabies, there are treatment for scabies. So you go to the pharmacy, ask for the anti-scabies cream. There's some permethrin lotion. There's a way you apply it, so you need to ask them. You apply it. You also treat all the beds and everything. Everybody in the family must be treated. So you just see the pharmacy, they will give you the drugs for eradicating scabies. Yes, but make sure the baby has scabies, because don't self-diagnose scabies so that we don't run into trouble though. Okay, good evening, Dr. Gbemi. You are late, I think. All right, you are late already. Just so say, my baby loves to bite people. And it's currently 10 months. If you see the hand on leg, you just look for a way and bite. I hope it's not a problem. I've been worried since I saw an animal complain about a child that has Down syndrome. So some babies bite out of habits and it's not good. So what I recommend for your baby, give the baby something else to bite on. Some babies, when they are teething, they have that gum, is scratching them. And so they feel relief by biting. They are not being malicious. No, they are not being wicked. It's just a phase for them, especially when they are teething, or some children they have it. Some children that have developmental issues. You've not told me any other reason why your baby is having any developmental issues. So don't just assume because of teeth or biting. No. So give baby something to bite on. Give them soft toys, teethers. They can always bite on that one instead of biting people. So that's what I would recommend. Don't need to panic. Don't need to worry about it. Eye discharge, you need to see your doctor who can prescribe appropriate antibiotic eye drop. 3 weeks, months, can they use fan and AC? Yes, they can use fan and AC from newborn babies. We in our newborn unit, we always have the AC on, so don't worry. Is sitting powder good? No, never. Never use sitting powder. Never. She don't use sitting powder. It's not good. It's dangerous. It's the most dangerous drug ever sold to babies. So I hope that is helpful. All right, thank you so much. I finished Instagram. Let me just finish Instagram, people. Sorry, Instagram people, for being patient. 2.6, 3.6. I think I've answered that. My 2-month-old baby PCV is 25%. I've been given Orofa good. The PCV is 25%. Just be patient. It will come up. Usually at this age, the baby's bone marrow is shut down. I don't know how to explain that, but don't worry, just trust me. So what we are trying to do by giving the Orofa is that we are building the iron reserve. Then when the bone marrow starts to produce the red blood cell, the blood cell will come up. So if it is really bad and it's giving your baby a problem, your doctors may want to give your baby blood. That's the only way out. But if the baby is otherwise well and fine, we will not give the baby blood. We will just patiently wait for it to pick up by itself. So don't worry. Was your baby born preterm? Because preterm babies also have what we call anemia of prematurity and all that. You didn't give me that information. So, but I think your doctor is doing the right thing. Just be patient with the doctor and keep going for follow-up. So Masita, 8-year-old daughter, has been complaining about stomach pain for some years. Okay. We've gone to the hospital and nothing I've done. You've done several tests. So if your baby is complaining of abdominal pain for several years and baby is still fine, and the doctors have done the test, there's nothing fine. It means there's really nothing causing it. There's what we call functional abdominal pain. You may need to pay more attention. When does the child have pain? Is it during the school period or does the child have pain during the holidays? Because sometimes some children have what we call anxiety, school refusals, and the way they will know they're having that is they will only have pain during school times. During the holidays, they don't have abdominal pain nowhere. So you know that. So sometimes it takes us several months and years to figure out whether it's just abdominal pain for no reason, or maybe it's due to school anxiety or something. So sometimes there's really nothing there. But make sure you've seen a specialist in a teaching hospital. They've done all the necessary tests to make sure. We've done H. pylori test, we've done all those other tests, stool tests, we've done everything to make sure it's not something we're missing. So if you have not done that, I will recommend you see the specialist in a teaching hospital. Let them do all those tests. If they've done all those tests and nothing is there, yes, some children have abdominal pain that we don't know and there is nothing causing it. It will go away. Just leave it alone. And Bella saying, thank you, Marge. Okay, thank you. Mentor mama. Okay, my daughter 2 years is not having appetite. She's not sick. What can I do to make her eat? Just encourage her, give her food. So usually for children, I always tell parents, whatever food they like, give them that more. And then you can use them to bribe them. Like if you eat this one, then you get this one. Bribery is allowed with children. You have to encourage them. We call it positive encouragement. So you give them what they like if they do what they don't like. So that is what we do. Sometimes you have to do that because that's the only way you're going to get them to eat. So just encourage them. Good evening. Maybe 7 weeks. Sweat on his forehead when he's sucking. That is perfectly normal. Okay, sucking is the only work that babies do, and just like you too, when you are walking, you sweat. So when babies are sucking, that is the work they do. They sweat, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I think you must be a first-time mom. First-time mom, you can get the first-time mom companion, and then you won't need to worry about that. Okay, Masita, I think I've answered your question. Yeah, so doctor has said the pain might do what? I guess that I don't know what they told you, but like I told you, there are some pains that is just functional abdominal pain. There's really nothing wrong, and it will go away. My daughter of 1 year, 10 months has been pooing, hard poo. She cries. That is constipation. So you need to make sure your baby is taking water, your baby is taking fruits, your baby is taking vegetables. So if your baby is constipated, you may need to see the pharmacy. They can give you stool softeners like Movicol, like lactulose, just to make sure that all those hard stools come out. But to prevent it from happening again, Let them drink water. Let them eat fruits. Let them eat vegetables, not biscuits, not junk food. Okay. So those are the things that make them, and then let children have good bowel habits. Maybe first thing they wake up in the morning, they go and sit on the toilet so that they tend to move their bowel. Because some of them they are playing these video games or watching cartoon. They will not want to go to the toilet when they should go to the toilet. So and they will stay there. And some of them they don't drink water. If you don't encourage them, you must make sure they drink at least 4 to 6 cups of water every day. So you may sometimes have to put a timer to it. Oh, yeah, go and drink 1 cup of water because some of them will not drink. So they need to drink more water than they drink only when they eat. They need to drink water throughout the day. So you need to encourage all that. And fruits and veggies, very important. Although Riade Dolapo, my baby is 5 weeks old, cradle cap, use coconut oil. Okay, I feel okay, the way to treat cradle cap is you need to use baby shampoo. You can first use the olive oil in the night, and then in the morning use the baby shampoo, not baby soap, baby hair shampoo, and you wash the hair, and then you comb out all the flakes. So that is how to do it. You do that consistently until all the flakes are out. So I'm not sure whether that is what you've been doing, because all I have seen is just saying I'm using coconut oil. I don't think that's what you need to do. So there's no other prescription. That's what you need to do. So, and then you comb it out, all the flakes will come out. So that's what you need to do. And usually within 1 or 2 weeks, everything should come out. If it's not going, you need to see us. Then we may give you something more, a different kind of shampoo. But most babies won't need that kind of shampoo. They will need the normal shampoo. Good evening. My baby of 1 year. Okay, okay, I think I've just answered that question. Olabisilawa, can I give my 5-month-old saline drops? Why? She coughs and it sounds like phlegm when she coughs. Saline drops is not for cough. Saline drops is for blocked nose. If there's something blocking the nose and it's like mucus is thick and blocking the nose, so the baby is not able to bring it out. So you use, and baby is struggling to breathe. So you use the saline drop in the nose so that it will soften the mucus and it will flow out. We want the catheter to flow out. That's all. So it is not a magical drug. So don't give it to a baby who has cough. Cough is usually viral infection. It will clear by itself. More importantly, prevent it. Keep baby away from people who are coughing. Exclusive breastfeeding. Keep baby away from smoke, cigarette smoke, firewood smoke, generator fumes, all those things. That's all you need to do. Tola Torish Empire, I've sent my question twice. I think I've just answered your question. So I've seen your question. Don't worry, I've answered it now. I hope you're happy. Thank you for your patience. Okay. Tola Torish, I hope you're still here to hear my answer. Okay, yeah, good. So thank you. Final question. Is it safe to use castor oil on 5-month-old hair? Why do you want to use castor oil on the hair? I don't know why. If you let me know why, then maybe I can tell you my opinion on that. Okay, I've answered the questions about the baby that has PCV of 25 and the ones that have infection every month. Okay, I've answered every question. So I don't know why you want to use the castor oil on your baby's hair, but let me just answer that and say, please, babies, let them be babies, okay? Mothers, I know you love to do hair, you want the hair to grow, you want to do all those various types, please, but just let my babies, let them be. All these ear treatments, all this, please leave the babies out of it, okay? Some of them are going to lose their hair first before they will make the hair will grow. So it's too early to start forcing over hair, put all those treatment you do for your own hair to grow, and please leave, just leave our babies out of it. If their hair is cutting, it's fine. Cut it off. The hair will grow again. Okay. So some babies will be bald, some babies will not have hair, some people will have hair. It doesn't matter, but don't subject them to all these products, all these chemicals because you want the hair to grow. Please don't do that. Just let them be. Thank you so much. We appreciate your patience with our baby's hair. All right. So thank you so much once again for everybody who has joined me. The person has a question on scabies. I've answered you. So please go to the pharmacy. They will give you the drugs for scabies. And there's a way to treat, and everybody in the family has to be treated. The beddings, everything has to be washed, sun dry, and all that. So just go for that. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. This program has been brought to you by Ask The Paediatricians Foundation. And if you still have questions, feel free to join our Facebook group, Ask The Paediatricians. You cannot miss us on Facebook. You can ask your questions there from Mondays to Saturday. Myself and all my colleagues and all our moderators, we will be working every day, 24 hours every day to answer your questions. If you want to have one-to-one with our pediatrician, you can do that through our ATP clinics. All our professionals can see you virtually, and if you're in Lagos, we can actually see you face to face. And please remember to support us. You can donate to our accounts, number showing on your screen, or you can check it on all our pages, or you can also join our volunteer teams in your states and even in Ghana. So you are welcome to join us. So you can follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, everywhere. Just follow us. Encourage your friends to follow us. Share all our posts. Share all our flyers. We are very grateful for you for doing that. And then I will see you again next week. Next week is the International Women's Day. So it's going to be a special one for all the mothers, all the women. So thank you so much for joining me today. And bye from now. Bye bye, everybody. I've gone 30 minutes overboard. Bye.